And I'm pretty sure we're live, so here we
Yep.
go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Dragging the Table. My name is DJ, and today I have with me a very special guest, the pun master himself, Richie Willis.
What's up, man?
How's it going, Richie?
It's going. I'm just chilling out. I'm actually happy we're doing this finally. I didn't expect it to be so like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, hang on. And everybody that's either watching or listening out there, you didn't see all the fuckery that was going on for me trying to set everything up and winding up just having to use some iPod earbuds. So it's okay. And this is actually not, we were talking about this before too. Like, I didn't want to look like a pretentious dick and just have like this chilling right here, and it's like a prop, but it's not even a prop. It's actually like we're going to actually use the audio. So whatever. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. It's been actually kind of nice. Like, the weather hasn't been too bad because it's been raining a lot, so it's brought the temperature down some. So it hasn't been like sweaty hot death every second that I step out of the door. So that's been nice.
Hard fucking relate, dude, because Louisiana is like swamp ass 2.0 compared to Florida. My old band toured in Florida in 2005, and I'll never forget a few things. One, sweating profusely, just breathing, and looking out of our window, passing down. I can't remember. We had just left Pensacola, and we were coming down to Okeechobee, and we look out of the window, and there's just a chick in not rollerblades, but like old like roller skates in a string bikini, and my guitar player, like, God damn it, I don't think he's ever gonna hear this, but whatever. He just leans out the window, and I think he was just messing with me. He goes, "You want to see this great pickup line?" Yeah. He just leans out the window. "Hey, baby, you want some nachos?" I swear to God, it worked. He followed us to the gas station, and he bought her fucking nachos. But anyway, that's my Florida experience. But it's been a while since I've been over there. But yeah, it's hot as shit. I don't know how y'all do it.
It's crazy. Where I was born here, so I feel like it's just bred into me. Like, I just, I don't know. I as much as I would love to move away to somewhere that was like more, I don't know, I wouldn't mind it if it, okay, we are going to full on talk about weather. I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't so humid. If I didn't just walk outside when it's still dark, start sweating, and just open my mouth and it's full of water immediately.
Save money bringing water to where you just open your mouth and drink the humidity up. It's not going to taste as good or as purified, but it's water nonetheless. But I feel that on a spiritual level, though, because over here, it's the same thing. I've taken showers before and walked outside and immediately felt like I needed to go back inside to take a shower again. Yeah. Hate it. Fucking hate it.
There's nothing worse than knowing you're going out for a day of hard labor and you're sweating before you get to your vehicle.
Right. You show up smelling like ass, and your boss just looks at you. Did you shower? Are some kind of Neanderthal that doesn't bathe? You're like, yeah, I am. So you just accept it and go.
That's why I dig with the shovel, because you knew what you were getting. I haven't one shower this week. But listen, before we get too far into it, plug all your stuff, your podcast, everything.
All right. I'm the co-host of the Super Media Bros podcast. And if you want to follow us on social media, we can primarily be found at Super Media Bros _ on Twitter. We have a Facebook and we have an Instagram, Super Media Bros podcast on Instagram. I would say our usual catchphrase of "come look at our stupid pictures," but it's mostly just like episode posters and like a couple of things from said episode. They're still stupid, but you can look at them. So, and supermediabrospodcast.com if you want to listen to all of our stuff. So,
dude, I highly recommend the Instagram. Like, you put a lot of time and effort into those posts, like, and into all of your, I don't know, like that. The first thing on your show is the perfect example of you need a good cover. I keep wanting to call it cover art, but a good logo. Like, because I remember seeing it, and I was like, I don't care what the show is about, I'm gonna listen to it.
And that was our old one, or not our old one. I think that was like our second one from 2018.
Yeah, I still have the sticker in here somewhere.
I need to send you guys new stuff. if I haven't already, because we got Sticker Mule hit us back to back with a bunch of like, oh, get these for $9, get these for $10, get these for free, and I'm like, give me all the things. So we've got new posters. We've got we actually have magnets now, so we'll have to send you guys some magnets and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of cool shit. I'm amazed every day at how the industry is as far as like how accessible it is to get merchandise done for yourself now. I mean, it's kind of pricey on some spots, but just the fact that you can do it now, because I go back to like my band days, we would have to find we'd have to dig to find people that would print our shirts off, and we would have to buy them in bulk. And I was afraid that, you know what, we're going to have to do bulk t-shirts if we want to sell t-shirts. No, you can go to all these websites that just do it right, made to order, So that's kind of the route we started going with. And it works.
Dude, how crazy was it to have to do, like, how long did you guys tour for? Like, when did you start and when did you end touring?
It wasn't like consistent as far as like we stayed on the road. We would just book like a bunch of weekend gigs, like Friday through Sunday, and then we would take off here and there on like 2-week trips, because that band, when we toured in 2005, it was like a 2-week run, and we did Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. We did like 6 dates in Florida, and I don't know if you remember, there was it was 2005. There was this, I don't remember what hurricane it was, but there was one in Florida that went right up Orlando's ass. Yeah. So when we got to Okeechobee, we were going to go down to Winter Park and play. I don't remember what venue it was. It's probably not open anymore. But we had to cancel it last minute. Like, we drove up to the venue. The other band was unloading their shit back into their van, and they did like this. They were just, no, go, turn around and go. So I fell asleep in the back because I sleep through fucking everything. And my guitar player, same one that yelled about the nachos, told me that we almost lost the trailer again, which, fun fact, we lost the trailer on the way to the first gig.
Like, lost, like somebody didn't hitch it properly and someone looked back and was like, when did that go off?
The ball hitch broke. Oh. And the fucked up part is we built this thing. The trailer was just a little half trailer, and we built like the wood around it, and we built a door and everything. I mean, we were proud of it, and surprisingly, it held up. So I can honestly say, yeah, we did good on the construction portion, but that ball hitch just snapped, and all of a sudden the van got lighter, and we went faster. And my other guitar player does like this. He's just looking out the back window, and he goes, "Oh, hey, our trailer fell off." That calmly. Hey, our trailer fell off. And I was like, are you shitting me? And it fell over sideways and skid. And I don't know how this 18-wheeler downshifted as fast as he did, because if he didn't, that fucker would have exploded. Like, went wood shards everywhere. My brand new drum kit, $10,000 worth of equipment just everywhere. And we lucked out big time. And the best part was these two guys that came to help us pick it back up and put it on the side of the road just happened to have some ball hitches. And the way they came up to us, I'll never forget this as long as I live. They just walk up and they're like, "You guys need some balls?" It's like, what the fuck, dude? You talk about the Florida man stories and shit all the time, but I've got crazy stories going to Florida and back from Florida. It's like, as well, So yeah, it's nuts. And I'm going off on a tangent, but still. I'm dredging up old memories and shit. So.
Wait, are you trying to say that your equipment didn't get all screwed up? Like, was it still mostly usable?
Yes, because we had flight cases and stuff like that for all of our shit, and and people are like, "Oh no, just use the gig bag." No, fucking, if you're a musician and you're listening to this, buy the fucking expensive heavy duty casing. You don't have to have a great instrument, but protect it, because I'm living proof that I still, like, the drum kit that I toured with is still sitting in the corner right here. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. So spend money on protecting your gear. Yeah.
Dude, that is so crazy. For a long time, I never had to drive with a trailer or anything. And then for work, suddenly I had to start doing it. And I had one crazy thing and one almost crazy thing, which was I drove like 30 miles on back roads from the job that I was coming from back to my yard. And I got like a like a 6-ton dump trailer on the back, and I pull up to the yard. And by the way, it's fully loaded. Pull up to the yard, and my supervisor comes up to, he backs me up to where I need to be, and he's going to get the trailer off for me. And he was like, he flags me back there. He's like, "Come here." And I go back and look at it. I had not engaged that thing to the ball at all, so it could have just bounced up and gone away.
No.
And I was like, dude, that was terrible. The crazy one was I was in that same trailer. I was hauling a Bobcat, and one of the 2 trailer tires on the left side just came off, like the whole everything. And the only reason I knew it happened is I was like, I heard it. I looked in my mirror. I didn't know what was happening. I just saw like an asphalt firework happen behind me. And I was like, what is that? And then I saw my tire shoot past me, somehow going faster, and start going towards oncoming traffic. I'm like, no.
Shit. Okay, so you just reminded me of a couple of things. So I used to work for a garbage company over here. I'll get to that story in a second, but the tire thing, I was hanging out with a friend of mine. I think we were in the 6th grade, and I went with him and his dad to go somewhere here. I think the mall or Sears, when Sears was still open, our old Sears location when it was still open down here. And we're driving back to the town I live in, Sulphur, from Lake Charles, and I just look over and I just see a tire bouncing on the road, and it goes down one of the exit ramps just perfectly. Like, it's on the road, but then it's just like, nah, fuck it, and just hangs right. It just goes down this little exit ramp, and the car is on 3 wheels going after the tire that just came off of it. I'll never forget that, because I was just like, I started, laughing. And of course, his dad, it was so funny because his dad was like, "Oh, don't laugh, that's a misfortune." I'm like, "No, it's not. That's my fortune for seeing it happen."
That's his misfortune, not mine.
Exactly. So the other story, how you said like that hitch was, you could have just bounced all that shit off. When I worked at the garbage company, we had a couple of incidents where the overhead loader, like when it goes into the back portion of it, there's a giant door that automatically will open and close, like when you push a button or whatever. Well, it wasn't latched, or the latch bounced off, and our dude had to pull off because once you've compacted it so much, you can't push it back in. Okay. So he had to pull off into a parking lot and open it and shove all of it out. And it was like 5 tons of garbage just in the middle of like this parking lot, some business somewhere. And I drove a cherry picker, and I was in charge of picking all the bulk items up on the side of the road that people didn't want. So I got to go pick all of that up with just one claw, slowly picking it up. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I mean, I'm getting paid for it, so whatever. But God, it was hot as balls that day, so I was a little pissed. But work, like, weird, not accidents in the workplace, but just weird shit that happened to me, when I worked at that company. It was just like, I would see stuff like that happen. I'm like, oh, it's just a Tuesday, whatever. Everybody's like, oh, it must be a bad day. It's just a Tuesday for me. So.
If it's not this, it's something else. I'm just going to get this done, and God, just go home and do whatever I actually want to do.
Yeah, because there were days where I would work 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I wouldn't get home till like 7 at night. And so there were some nights where I would just have enough time to go home, eat, shower, sleep, go to bed.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
It's weird because, I mean, I guess technically we could still do that, but I feel like that is the young man's game of just getting an hour of sleep and being like, all right, back to work.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, since the pandemic, I've been like in this giant no sleep mode. And I think that's me diving into, the art, like you mentioned earlier, like the art for the show and the episode posters, full circle. The lack of, shit to do / okay, we're quarantined / I'm pretty sure I developed insomnia in some form or fashion. I'm just diving headfirst into creativeness. Whatever I can do for our show, I'm just like, okay, let me go ahead and plan everything out through, let's plan it for all the way through next year. Because, I mean, we've already got all of our content planned through Christmas. So we're not really worried about what to do next year until probably November. So
dude, that is so crazy about your show is like I try and think of, because I do the Untrained Eye with my wife Beth, and sometimes we try and I don't know, plan something out, and it never works for the next week.
And I love you guys too, man. I love listening to y'all's show, and I love listening to you, like your solo stuff too. But yeah, like, I always sit there and I'm like, yeah, you could plan it out, but dude, sometimes it's just better. Let's turn the mics on and see what the fuck's going on and just talk. Because sometimes you get like better episodes. Like we actually just did that. We recorded the episode that's going to be coming out next Friday or whenever this show drops, probably tomorrow. We just recorded that one, and we decided what to do after we finished recording the one prior. Because Cody was like, "Hey, you want?" So we'll just push it to the side and put this episode here because it sounded more fun. So we're doing like a Nickelodeon versus Disney thing where like what was the better programming from like 1985 to 2002, and there was like a lot of, okay, this is good, but this might be better, and this might be better than this one, and it was actually a really fun discussion. So,
dude, I gotta tell you, you don't have to tell me who won out of Disney, but name two, even one great Disney show from our. Well, wait, how are you? I'm 37. How old are you, if you don't mind?
30. I'm 34.
Yeah, so we're close enough to be having seen the same stuff. So what did Disney have at that time that beat Ren and Stimpy? Nothing.
That you said that beat Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
Dude, if you're going for like just some of the stuff that even aired on ABC, like the Buena Vista shit that they just outsourced to ABC for like all the Saturday morning cartoons and all that shit, I actually still have our list right here. I never deleted it for some reason, so I'll go ahead and read like a list off. And mostly these are going to be like the 90s. Like Gargoyles was really fucking awesome. We loved that show so damn much.
That was Disney.
Yes, it was. Gargoyles, for the most part, kicked the flying shit out of almost anything at that time. In fact, it was Disney's most successful cartoon series at that point in time. And it was, I think I read somewhere, it was the first Disney cartoon series that got the DVD release treatment. They liked it so much.
Dude.
And I read somewhere else there was this annual convention where people would get together and cosplay, or like they would get together and like just have Gargoyles Day. And they discontinued that in like 2009. It was just the weirdest shit.
It was like a good story, because I remember when Disney, now that you say that, I remember, because whenever Disney Plus first came out and Gargoyles was on there, I watched, I don't know, like the first 5 episodes or whatever, and it actually had like a good story for the time. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, hey kids, it's just a thing that happens and it won't matter next week because we're going to forget about it. Like it was actually like a continuing story. I don't know. I can't believe I forgot Gargoyles was Disney.
Yeah, dude. And fun fact about that, I've mentioned several times on our show before that, like, I grew up in a video store. My family owned a video store from like 1989, 88, 89 to like 1996. And I remember when Gargoyles came out because we got the screener copy of it in, and it was just the first like 3 or 5, I can't remember, I think it was the first 5 episodes crammed together, and it was called Gargoyles the Movie. And I was like, what the hell is this? It looks awesome. And then there was a series afterwards, and I was like, oh cool, it's not just this movie, I can watch more of it. And they did like 3 seasons, and I loved the shit out of that cartoon. I actually was watching some of it earlier today. So, and there's, what else was there, man? Goof Troop, The Mighty Ducks, DuckTales, Chip and Dale, Darkwing Duck. That's Cody's absolute favorite, Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Darkwing. Well, here's the thing. Darkwing Duck was great. I loved all of the characters on that show, I think. But again, like Ren and Stimpy to me, like has that, they had like the weird growth stuff, but it was also actually funny, I felt like. And then the thing I liked the most about it was when they would like cut to those like super detailed drawings of like just jagged, gnarled teeth or like boogers under a table or something. And you're like, this is so
just the camera would pan up.
Or like powdered toast can, but super defined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. God damn. So, fun fact again, Ren and Stimpy just got greenlit for a reboot on Comedy Central.
Yep.
Beavis and Butthead is going to be rebooted on Comedy Central for 2 seasons.
Oof.
And there was something else. I can't, but basically, Comedy Central is about to start doing more focus. They're building an animated block around South Park. So you're already going to have South Park, Beavis and Butthead, and Ren and Stimpy on the same fucking network and in the same block. They canceled Tosh.0 for this, so it better be good. That's all I got to say.
Dude, how do you feel about that? How did you feel about when Ren and Stimpy came back the first time?
Oh, the adult party cartoon was absolute balls, dude. And I'll be honest right here. Like John Cristofalusi is a giant piece of shit. And I'm honestly happy that the reboot they're doing right now is not happening with him because, like, I don't know, man. I could tell just by the first, because he didn't last with Nickelodeon past, I think, like the first season. They started, they used the same crew that was under, I can't remember the animation company, but they still used the same crew, but John Kay was just not involved with it after the first or second season.
Yeah.
And when all that stuff about like him kind of being like, you know, a child groomer and stuff like that came out, I was just like, oh God, you know, and it made me glad that he was just not associated with it. But when they did the adult party cartoon, that didn't come out yet. So watching the adult party cartoon, and I think it was like when Spike TV launched actually. And I remember watching it going, this is, like, there were 2 episodes that I was like, okay, I can see this is a little edgier, but then the other 4 episodes were just being gross just to be gross, and I did not like it at all. So.
I kind of took that. I heard an interview with him a long time ago. I think it was actually it might have been on the Nerdist podcast way back in the day.
Yeah.
And it seems like ever since, like you were talking about that first season where he just kind of, his version of it was that he was kind of pushed out. And I feel like that adult party, whatever it was, like that was like his like kind of FU to be like, these were my characters and my idea. And if you want to hold them sacred, cool, but watch what I do with them. And that's kind of why I think it's weird that they are like, he does have all that weird stuff in his past and they are so willing to make money off of him, but not include him in it.
Well, I mean, I think the show, like, he created the characters, but still the show and a lot of the properties still belong to Viacom. So they can do what they want with the property. And I mean, Billy's even going to come back because he was supposed to voice Ren as well as Stimpy in the beginning. And then John Kay just started voicing Ren, and then Billy just did Stimpy's voice. So now he's going to be doing both of them again because Billy did both of their voices, I think, from season 2.5 onward till they ended their initial run.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what it's going to look like and what they're going to do now, because I don't know if you saw the Beavis and Butthead trailer for their reboot, but it was fucking hilarious because it's just Beavis and Butthead standing there at a small press conference, and this chick is in her face mask just asking them, you know, why now? And, you know, it's because we're stupid, you know, or whatever the fuck he says. And it's true. I think Beavis and Butthead is going to be that perfect foil to PC culture right now. I think it's going to be the perfect foil for that. And at a time when, you know, I'm not trying to get like political or anything, but like at a time when a lot of shit is so high right now, like a lot of tensions are high, I think, you know, something like this is going to be good to look at and just be like, okay, you know, these guys are fucking idiots, and it's going to be nice to just kind of take your mind off of like really bad shit for 30 minutes or an hour, however long they run it. But if they tackle these topics, like Mike Judge is really good at doing that. Like, you know, King of the Hill was a great cartoon, so
yeah. Well, but what are they going to do? Instead of watching music videos, are they just going to watch, just scroll through TikTok? Like,
I mean, yeah, I don't know if you caught the 2011 reboot they did. Did you catch that one? Did you catch the 2011 season they put out?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. So instead of music, because this was on MTV. So instead of music videos, they were watching like Jersey Shore and shit. They were flipping through MTV's current programming. So look, I'll set the stage for it. They're flipping channels, and there's like some music videos, but it was mostly like the TV programming. And they cut it to where Snooki was answering the phone, but they cut it in such a way where she was like, "Hello, I'm a whore," and Butthead just, that's how she answers the phone. And you're just like, oh my God, dude. Like the way that they just flipped that and just started using them, you know, to kind of parody their own programming they were trying to get away from was pretty damn genius, actually. Because what do you do with Beavis and Butthead in 2020? You know?
Yeah, well, and exactly. Are they going to be? Because I haven't seen that trailer. Are they aged up at all, or are they just cartoon?
They're still teenagers, dude. As far as like that one trailer is, they're still teens. But the rumor for a while was that they were going to actually have kids and having to like guide them through 2020 and still having not aged at all mentally. So I would watch that. I would watch it no matter what because that was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. That and like the old school like liquid television programming from the late 80s, early 90s on MTV. Holy crap, dude. That was my shit.
Well, maybe that could be the Beavis and Butthead do the world. That could be the next movie.
I would love to see a sequel to that. I loved Beavis and Butthead do America. I'll never forget my parents taking me to see that shit in theaters. And I mean, they took me to see the South Park movie when it came out. And I'll never forget like both instances. The ticket taker was like,
what?
Yeah. They're like, this is not a children's movie. And I'll never forget my mom being like, we know. And I was wearing a Beavis and Butthead t-shirt to go see the movie. I'm like, bitch, I know. I'm like, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was like 10 or 11. I was not a sheltered child by any means. So
were your parents just like that because of the video store? Because like that, because I grew up with video stores too. Like we had our local store that was like walking distance from the house. So were they just like, listen, you're going to see everything that's in here. We're not going to even bother trying to hide any of it from you, or like what, how did they come at you?
Okay. So it's really strange. And I'll tell these stories because it's, growing up being 34 years old, almost 35, looking back on it being like, okay, I don't understand what your fucking mindsets were at all. Because I'm non-denominational, like and actually I am agnostic. So my family on my dad's side was Jehovah's Witness, so I had to grow up in that shit. But I wasn't ever formally baptized or anything, and I'm just like, I want to watch all these horror movies, and my mom didn't give a shit. My mom liked Freddy Krueger and fucking Evil Dead and Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th, all that shit. So I was always walking up and down the aisles of the store browsing the horror section because I fucking love horror. And my dad had the biggest problems with the horror movies, but totally fucking let me watch RoboCop and watch Peter Weller get blasted the fuck apart by shotguns and shit. So explain that, you know what I mean? So that was my childhood in a nutshell. Not sheltered at all. It didn't fuck me up or anything like that. I think a lot of kids that don't have shit explained to them get fucked up because they believe it's real. But I always knew the difference between real life and make believe. And, I was just sitting there like, oh, it's okay. Because I'll never forget my logic as a child watching RoboCop and getting blasted the fuck apart. Going like, it's okay. They're going to rebuild him. It's just like, we have the power and the technology. We can rebuild him. So
I saw the cover. He's gonna be fine.
Exactly.
So what was it? Was there like a specific movie that? Because would you say horror is your favorite genre of movie?
Absolutely. Horror followed very closely by comedy and action. Like that's a very like close race. Just because I grew up watching Eddie Murphy stand-up comedy, like Delirious and shit like that. I grew up watching George Carlin, so all that's been ingrained in my brain. But action movies, like I would watch Terminator, RoboCop, fucking Rambo, all that shit, dude. I grew up on all that crap. So when people look at me and they're like, why do you like the movie Cobra so much? And I'm like, it's fucking Sylvester Stallone. Fuck off. It's like, I'm a big fan of like all that over-the-top 80s bullshit, like the Cannon Films era and everything when Schwarzenegger was doing like Predator, Commando, all that shit. So, but movies have been a huge part of my life. So it's no question why, doing the podcast, we have a movie focus every other week. And then my dad was in radio for 22 years. So I grew up watching him do the shit, doing ad reads and doing like, remotes and doing live radio shit. So I guess that's what drew me into podcasting. And then I was like, well, we can talk about entertainment shit because I like that too. So that here we are.
Did you ever like help him out, or did you like when he did his radio stuff, or were you just like, yeah, can I come in and watch you, or what?
I did a little bit of both. Usually it was the more or less the come in and watch stuff when he had to go and do ad reads, because he would do. I'll never forget. He did like 40. This is how much of a perfectionist he was. He did like 40 takes of a Nextel read, and the Nextel ad read was like 30 seconds, and I will never have. Or I'm sorry, I'll never forget, and always have this ingrained in my brain. Also, the way he enunciated like certain words and cadenced his speech with specific lines. I'm like, man, like, as a child, you don't understand. Like, you did it good the first time. Why are you doing it 39 more times? And it's because he would notice like too much of us on the microphone, or he had too many plosives or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, let's go home. I want to watch Ninja Turtles and eat some fucking pizza. So I didn't mind being up there. But the weird part about 80s radio stations are, growing up around all that stuff, because especially it being like local, you'll never forget the weird smell, which ironically, I used to smoke cigarettes, but I still love the smell of microphone screen wire with the cigarette smoke just caked in it. It's this weird like smell from my childhood that just brings back memories of him gigging like musically, or the radio station, because that's back when people smoked indoors and they didn't give a shit about ventilation or none of that. Everybody's going to get cancer. So
did he smoke? Like, would he smoke like while he was on air ever?
No, but so he did a morning show with one of my best friend's dads. So that was cool for us. We always got to hang out and shit. And we got free food wherever we went, because they fucking like were everywhere in the town. But anyway, no, but her dad did. So like we would be, in the radio station, and I would just see like the little trail of smoke, because you could see like through the window and everything. And we would just sit outside while they would, record or whatever. And you could just see it. You would walk in there, you open the door, just like smoke coming out everywhere. And you hear her dad. He's like, I'm gonna get a coffee. You guys want something? I'm like, yeah, we want a Coke, please. And so they had that. I'm going on a tangent, but I remember all of the layout of this radio station here in town. And it even had like that old school Coke machine where when you would turn it, the bottle would pop out from the side and you would reach in and grab it. So it was just like, yeah, dude, and that wound up becoming a house. Like they tore all the insides, like all the walls on the inside, and redid it. But the radio tower is still there. So like if you drive by the old building, the radio tower for that station is still there, but the inside of it is a fucking house now. And I'm like, this isn't a house. This is a radio station. Get out.
It's just crazy because like I went to college for a little while to what I thought was to be on the radio. I was like, I'm going to go and learn how to be on the radio and do that, because I thought it was exactly like it was for your dad and his buddy. Like you just go in there, you just talk, you smoke cigarettes, you just do whatever you want, and then you're out of there. And I found out real quick it was not that at all. I didn't get to pick any of the music, and I couldn't really say anything that I wanted to say. They basically were like, here's what you say. These are the songs you play. You are just a warm body. Go. I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I learned this in school and not, on the job.
That's why you go to be the DJ and the program director at the same time. So because my dad was the program director for a couple of the stations around here, and that was his job. He did his DJ job, and then he also would do the program direction. So he would pick the music that would get into rotation. So when they relaunched the country station down here, which I don't really care for country music, but still, like, he relaunched the country station and was actually bringing in, fresh songs that weren't in rotation that were getting played in like California, New York, Florida, Chicago. So like everything that was mainstream. You hear the story of like some local towns where the classic rock station plays the same 7 bands back to back, nothing new. Yeah. Or the rock station that's supposed to be home for new rock and roll plays the same 5 fucking new bands back to back to back. As I'm sure you heard on a couple of episodes ago, we blasted the shit out of a few of those bands.
Yes.
Yeah. We pissed a lot of people off with that episode.
That's awesome.
It was actually kind of funny though.
Good.
I was gonna say it's actually kind of funny though. we pissed a few people off with that one. Like we literally had I'll go fuck it. I'll go ahead and say our buddy over at Potaskew, CJ, he texted me and he was like, I'm afraid to listen to this episode. In fact, I might stop listening because I like you guys so much. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. It was one of those situations. I was just like, he was like, okay, what bands did you shit talk? And I'm like, are you sure you want to know? And I was just like, are you a Five Finger Death Punch fan? He goes, ... Yeah. And I was just like, oh, fuck. You know?
Episode.
Yeah. Oh, he made it through. That's what the funny part was. He made it through because I did have to tell him, I'm like, look, you're the first person that I've ever met that likes that band that is not a total dick or a total asshole. So you get a pass. That was the only like safe thing. I was like, everything else is par for the course.
Listen, can I tell you, I've heard of Five Finger Death Punch, never heard the first song from them, not even once.
It's the most generic bro rock, Monster Energy, Kyle drinking sons of bitches you've ever seen in your life, dude. It's a waste. I'm sorry. Like, if anybody out there is listening that likes that band, I feel sorry for you. Like, I have a strong opinion when it comes to that shit, dude. Ugh.
The only one you were wrong on, you and Cody are both wrong. You'll always be wrong forever. Is AWOL Nation. AWOL Nation,
that band.
One album, Megalithic Symphony or whatever it's called. It is a masterpiece. You know it's true. Do not deny it. It's amazing.
Don't feel bad. My girlfriend gave me shit for that. They came in the room and they were like, "Hey, so AWOL Nation, really?" It's like, yeah, fuck that band. And they were like, you take that shit back. They have some good stuff. And I was like, yeah, they've got good enough stuff for us to wait in a merch line to get fucking merchandise to go sit back in our seats. You know, I was just giving them 10 kinds of shit about it. But no, really, like, I don't get it. You know, I get certain bands, I get certain quirks. I know AWOL Nation in particular, just they have their own like unique sound and everything. I just, in a live setting, I think mostly I feel that way because in a live setting, it didn't work. It sounded terrible live. And, you know, I think some bands are just meant to be in the studio and not live. And then there are other bands that are meant to be live and not in the studio.
Exactly. Yeah,
so I think that's my big gripe. But I'm sorry for hurting your feelings.
Yeah. I cried right into my podcast player and then threw my phone.
I'm done. I'm unsubscribing now.
But that's what I like about, I don't know, I like anybody with like broad brush opinions that don't actually, like, it's fine that you don't like that, but I love that there's someone who legitimately is like, I will never forgive you for what you said about Five Finger Death Punch. This is unforgivable. They are my favorite band. All they know of me is the $15 I spent on their CD, but we're friends and I love them, and no more.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like, because I'll never forget, because when Cody, like, the very last thing he said, I think at the end of the episode was like, I said, yeah, come comment if you got a band that we, left off, or if there's a band that you think should be done. And then he just, out of nowhere, yes, please send me your drunken bro masters hating on us and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Just the way he said drunken bro masters, I legit pictured the no regrets dude.
Regret.
Yeah, no regrets. It's just an army of no regret dudes coming, like, standing in line to wait to punch in their comment. So
I'm so mad. So I wanted to ask you, so did you always want to do something like a podcast, or was that like where the band came in, or like, because what I mean is like your dad was in radio, like, were you looking to be in radio too, or was like the being in a band the shortcut to that? Or when you found podcasting, were you like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for?
Believe it or not, film was what I wanted to do. I wanted to do film school, but there were, at the time, they weren't really doing a lot of online courses was starting to be a thing, but not as technologically sound as we have now. So that was just kind of like, you live in Louisiana. I'm sure like there's a couple of other cities like this, but you live in Louisiana, and it's like, okay, you either go to college and become a plant tech, like or you die. Like that's the end all be all. And I didn't want to do that because like I don't want that life. Everybody I know, or most people I know, have grown up and done that, and they have a life. And I'm like, no, I didn't grow up to die and pay bills. Like that's not my life. So I wanted to do film, and I used to do like short films with my friends from high school. I've got like little those high 8 tapes and the little mini DV cassette tapes. I've got stacks of those in one of these boxes in here somewhere. But I was doing music in high school and everything. I played drums for 26 years, so music's always been kind of a part of my life. And I had a little band in high school. We didn't really, gig. We just got together and jammed. And I'm still friends with those guys. And I moved on and started another band with another friend of mine, the one that we went on that Florida tour. Then I played more until about 2009, and then I just kind of got burned out. I didn't. We had our son, and I wanted to just focus on being a dad and just take care of him. And when he got older, around I don't know 9, I picked music back up again and gigged with some friends of mine just here and there. But as far as the podcasting thing goes, that was just something I wanted to try, because I remember when podcasting was like first a thing. What song was it? Adam Carolla, Kevin Smith were some of the first few to do it.
Yep.
And I always loved Kevin Smith, and I'm just like, what the fuck is a podcast? And then Mark Hoppus from Blink-182 had a podcast, and I didn't know what the hell those were. I was like, what is a podcast? And I was like, oh, it's if you have an Apple product. I'm not fancy enough to have an Apple product, so fuck podcasts. I'm just going to listen to the radio. Then I got my iPhone, and then I got podcasts, and I was like, this is cool. It's uncensored radio. I can get totally down with this, and I don't have to listen 5 minutes worth of commercials, and they can say fuck and shit and dick and all this other stuff you can't say on the radio.
Yeah.
Because I cuss like a sailor, obviously. But no, when we first pitched the idea of doing a podcast, it was me, Cody, and another person, and we did that for a little bit, but then we just dropped off, and we started doing Super Media Bros in 2016 because it wound up being just the two of us a lot of the time anyway in the other show. So we're like, fuck it, let's just get a different name and just be us two and just go. And we were sitting in a local cafe over here just bullshitting. We're like, oh, what do you want to do? What are we going to call this? And I was like, I don't know. And the name spawned from a photo shoot idea we had where we wanted to be like Mario and Luigi in like Miami Vice garb with like navy blue slacks and jackets with pastel red and pastel green shirts under them.
That sounds awesome.
Driving like a Mario Kart convertible, with like the white, shoes with the gold fucking chains across the top of them and shit like that. And we're like, oh my god, it's like Super Mario Bros. And then that's where the 80s aesthetic of it had come into play with the artwork. And then I was like, well, what about Super Media Bros, since we're going to cover like everything? And we're just like, yeah, that works. And we fucking went with it. So that's it.
So. And like, how long have you known Cody? Because it seems like it's not really that long, right?
We met in 2014 or 15. We've been friends for about 5-6 years. But when we met, it was like we knew each other our whole life.
Dude, so, you guys talk like you grew up next door to each other. It is bananas. When I found out, because I knew it wasn't, I knew it was like 4 or 5 years, something like that. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's hard to come across people like that you just instantly click with, and that's how it was with us. Our sense of humor is the same. We like the same stuff. We play the same video games, watch some of the same movies, the same music, everything. And we're best friends, but it's like family. Like he's like my brother that I never had, and same goes with me to him. And it just works. And everybody that listens to the show, just know that the everything you hear is literally what we do, even if there's not a microphone. Like that is literally us before, after, during the week, text messaging, voice chat, memes, photos, stupid shit, 24/7. That's us. We just happen to catch it for about an hour to hour and a half every week. So yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you hope, like you guys definitely did it, but that is like the hope is you're like, is what we're saying like entertaining enough and funny enough for anybody else to want to listen? And you guys are great at it. Like I loved dude, you guys had me. I meant to look up what movie it was that I first heard you guys talk about, but it was it was one of, I think it might have been in one of the 20s of the Cult Cinema Showdowns.
I know exactly which one it is.
All I remember about it, your explanation of it, because I was still doing construction at that time, and I was outside and I was so hot, and I was like, am I having a fever dream or are they? Like, your explanation of that movie, I was like, what? I remember rewinding it like 20 minutes because I was like, I don't know what I'm hearing right now. What is this? I couldn't have heard it right.
It was Natural Born Killers versus Fatal Pulse.
Fatal Pulse, I think, is it.
that's the one, because it was literally like a fever dream, and that's a really fun movie. Honestly, it's very quirky, it's very fucking out there. But Damon Packard, the guy that directs it, is a really weird guy, but not in a bad way. Like, he's fucking awesome as shit. He loves 70s cinema, and it really shows. And he's really in tune with like that kind of that psychedelic kind of feel with some of the stuff that he does. It's very minute, but it's there. And I really enjoy a film like that. And the reason we started doing the Cult Cinema Showdown stuff is because, I feel like a lot of these movies don't really get their due diligence, and they just, some of them happen to be either forgotten, or you have to really dig deep on like Amazon Prime to find them, or some of them didn't get released here, or like Samurai Cop. Like, that's our fucking favorite thing we've ever talked about movie-wise so far. And the story behind that movie is unfucking believable. And just the fact that it got made in 1990 to 1991 and then really didn't get a proper United States release until the mid-2000s is like ridiculous. Even so far as to think that a lot of people thought the lead actor in the movie died. And his daughter made him fucking post a YouTube video saying that he was alive because she kept getting sick and tired of her friends at school being like, is your dad really dead? So Matt just comes out in this fucking towel. And he's just like, I just want to let y'all know that I'm still alive. And I'm the guy that did that fucking awful movie and blah, blah, blah. And it was just so goddamn hilarious, man. But Matt is a super cool guy. We actually got to interview him, and he's really, really nice and very funny. So, and he takes all that shit with great stride. Like, he's so happy that, people get entertainment out of it, even if it was what it is, So,
those Cult Cinema Showdowns are. What I like about them is like there are a few podcasts I listen to that are windows into worlds that I barely, if at all, knew existed.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, well, it's too late for me, but these people know all of it, so I'll just listen to them. You guys have brought movie. What was the one recently where it was like, it starts with like a guy driving a Lamborghini like into a Tyrannosaurus Rex's mouth or something? Like, it's it was like a 30-minute video or a movie that was only on YouTube, I think.
Kung Fury and Escape from North Korea.
Kung Fury. When you guys were talking about it, I watched like the first 2 or 3 minutes of it, and I was like, oh my God. Like, but that is what I love. Like, I would never know about that. I would never know about Birdemic. Like,
fuck, dude. Fuck that movie so hard. Like, it's so fun to watch, but seriously, fuck that movie. Oh my God. Oh. And the sequel's just as bad.
It really, I feel like we as podcasters need to get together and just make a movie. Like, I feel like if we get enough of us, we only need like 10 grand. I feel like we can make that money. We just get all of our cell phones, pull them together, and just shoot it all, make a movie, and there you go. We can be on the Cult Cinema Showdown.
Dude, seriously though, like, if you've got a phone and you've got, if you've got Hit Films or like Final Cut Pro, you can make a fucking movie. And it's not hard at all to do, especially now that, the way you can edit really simply these days with some of these apps and programs, anybody can really make a movie. And shit, we've seen movies done for $200 fucking dollars. Like, Who Killed Captain Alex? That movie was done in fucking Uganda for $200. If Ugandan warriors can make the movie for $200, we can certainly make movies on our iPhones.
Yeah.
that movie is unbelievable too. That's another favorite of ours, honestly. It's like the VJ Emmy guy, the dude that does the commentary throughout the whole thing. That guy makes that movie. Like we've used sound clips from that movie in multiple episodes because it's unbelievable. And that's another thing that I really hope people don't get sick of, because that's kind of like I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at our podcast. I'm not trying to suck our own dicks or anything, but like if you listen to multiple episodes of our show, we still have callbacks to old shit. Like we still have callbacks to like our second episode, our fifth episode, our 20th episode. And a lot of them revolve around like some of the sound effect cues we do. And it's as stupid as it is, it's just kind of like a little Easter egg for people that have been with us since the beginning, because there are some people that have been with us since fucking day one. And I didn't think they'd last. Fuck, we're doing I think our 138th episode just dropped. So
damn.
I know. And the one we did before that, we did like 54 episodes. And so technically Cody and I have been podcasting together for about 5 years now.
The thing that I always think about now is like first, before I say this, I want to say you guys have the skill that I do not have, which is restraint and patience on the soundboard, because as soon as you give me the soundboard, I'm like, I should just push them all to make sure.
Dude, you should hear, I think we have some recordings of it. Like when we were just setting up the new Roadcaster, like we were putting all of the sound effects on the buttons. So we were just messing with each other because I was still trying to get the sound levels right. And Cody would be just sitting there and I would just push like a couple of them back to back where it's like a duck quack and then an explosion and then somebody falling over and then Richard Simmons going, "Oh, fuck." So, and just having him rolling laughing, is like my goal, because Cody is a tough customer sometimes. And if you can make him belly laugh or make him laugh out loud, you've done your job correctly. And I think I might be the only person that can do that, which I will gladly, fucking hold my trophy up high, because it's easy to crack me up. I think everything's funny. So
same.
Yeah. So.
But what I was going to say is, do you ever think now, especially 5 years in, like I think all total, I have like 2+ maybe years of my voice out there. But do you think of like all of the words that you've said? Like, do you ever think back of like, should I delete? Should I just review? Or should I just forget? Like me, I will put out an episode and then there is no episode. It's just the next one. Like if people ask, like, especially for the untrained eye, people will be like, remember this part? No, I remember nothing.
Funny. Like sometimes, I do go back and listen. It sounds, stupid. Like I do go back and listen to our own episodes sometimes, because like, especially when they first get released, it's like, I'm going to give us my listen for a download. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the times, I'll go back and kind of listen to our old stuff just for continuity purposes. Like if I know for a fact we're going to cover a movie that has same actor as another film, and I want to reference like a specific thing this person did in that movie, and I maybe have made a comment about it, I want to go back and be like, okay, I want to do a callback to this episode because I think this is hilarious and it will tie in with this. Or there's actually been a couple of times where I've gone back and been like, maybe we shouldn't have said that, or maybe we should have trimmed like some of this audio to cut the time. And I've actually gone back on a couple of the episodes and I've gone and just like squeezed in some areas where, I hit the microphone and just fucking left it in there. Or we spilled a whole bottle of alcohol trying to get through 4 Marvel movie ripoffs. Let's maybe take that out of there. So yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I really had to go back and listen to other shit. But when we first were doing the show, I would listen to our stuff constantly just to figure out if we got sound levels right, because I will listen in earbuds, I will listen in my car stereo, I will listen on like the little Bluetooth portable speakers, I will listen out of a laptop. I always want to I'm really anal retentive about our sound quality. Like I just want to make sure like everybody, is getting a pleasant audible experience with it. So, because I know how fickle people can be about podcasts. Like if the audio is really shit, they'll turn it off in the first 5 seconds.
Yes.
And I'm really afraid, that's why anytime somebody's like, hey, we want to listen to you guys, I'm like, please don't listen to episodes 1 through 18. The only reason we keep 1 through 18 up is because people have told us they like those episodes, surprisingly, and we keep them up. But if it were up to me, I'd probably take them down. But I know there'd be completionists out there that are like, well, where's your fucking first episodes at, bro? I know you didn't just start on 19.
I
Just
used
like, yeah, we did.
I used to be the same way. Like whenever I would start a new podcast, I would be like, I'm starting it. I'm going from episode 1 to wherever we're at. And now I'm just like, I know what I wish people would do, which is just start at the last one and just go forward from there. So,
Yeah.
unless it's an
Right.
audio drama, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Is like, I'll just judge you by this, and then we'll move forward.
Right. And I found that there's a lot of people that that's what they do. They'll just start with whatever episode has been recently put out, or if they'll scroll, they'll find something they like and they'll latch onto that one. Which I'm glad that we've got enough content out that they can do that and not hit those fucking initial episodes. So yeah, I'm thankful for that at least. And another thing about our content, while I'm thinking about it, is I've tried to make a conscious effort to not like overdo the greatest hits. Like when we do our movies and shit like that, we didn't come right out of the gate with like, of like some cult films, like, that are considered cult films. Like we still haven't touched the Evil Dead franchise. We still haven't touched Nightmare on Elm Street. Things like that is, I'm saving for later, because I feel like if you cover all of like the big shit everybody knows, you've done all that already. And I feel like that's more enticing for somebody to hang around to see if they're, if a podcast is going to cover this or not. So that's kind of my mindset on content, as far as what we cover, who we, talk about and things like that. Because there's always going to be shit you can talk about currently. But when it comes to the past, you talk about it, but you can't really revisit it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, there's not going to be any more Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger films. There's not going to be any more Kane Hodder, Friday films. There's just going to be reboots. And once you touch the series as a whole, you can't really like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but to me it makes total sense. So
no, you're making perfect sense. Like the way I kind of think about what you just said is okay, I was looking for a YouTube video today to figure out how to set a specific effect to my sound pads on my mixer because I'm an idiot and I don't know how. And I just am like, nah, why would I read the book? And I went through, I don't know, 50 YouTube videos of no one explaining it at all. And then some guy accidentally explained it. He was explaining something else and I saw what he did and I was like, oh, there it is. And I did it. So like you guys are what like I was looking for in that moment. Like nobody has a video on this exact thing that I want to do except for the Super Media Bros.
Yeah, and we just actually, because we just got the Rodecaster and everything, and for the longest time we were just using this app called Boss Jock, and they stopped making updates for it. So I was like, oh shit, I'm about to get a new phone. It's not available in an app store anywhere because we use it on the phone. Like, where the hell are we gonna, record, or what are we gonna record? Because that phone was really its last leg. And then one of the app made the backup app. So when that came out, that is what we were using from I think like episode 50 or 60 onward, because the way it is like you open your phone and we would plug our microphones into an ARC preamp, and we would run it dual mono, USB out to Lightning adapter, and I would put it on airplane mode so we couldn't have any phones around to like look up notes. I swear to God, I've got like 6 notepads with just handwritten notes for everything we've done. Sound banks. So we would record our episodes from the intro music to ducking out, sound effects, promos, everything in real time. So like a lot of the episodes up until like episode 100, it's literally like a take straight through. So.
All right, I think I lost you. Are you back?
I am back.
Hey, yeah.
Do I need to repeat a lot or?
Well, you got your side, right?
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Going purely into podcast nerd mode. How much better is it to put in all the stuff after the fact? Like your promos,
it helps.
everything.
I like it. There are some pros and cons to both. The pros to it is that we talk, we just record, and if we fuck up something, we can cut it out and all this other shit like that. Adding everything. Uh, uh, um, obviously, are if you fuck something up with a button punch, you have to fix everything. Like if you ruin something that needs to be done in one take, you can't fix it. So doing it post is a lot better. It's a little more time consuming, but I'm like a fucking sushi chef with Audacity, so I don't give a shit. Like coming from editing vocals and music projects over the years, I can look at waveforms and tell if it's me or if it's Cody. If it's a breath, if it's one of us saying yes, so, any of that, I can fucking look at it and just click it and drop it and it's gone. Or there's been several times where I tend to get excited when I talk and trip over my words. We both do. So I'll go in and it could be like a 5-second clip of me stuttering or trying to get caught up with what I'm trying to say. And then I'll just take one half and another half and fucking glue it together, and it sounds like I didn't fuck up whatsoever. So if you hear us and you're like, man, these guys are really well spoken, no. More often than not, no. But I like it's a weird grind because there's some people out there that don't like to edit, but I do, and I'm like the resident podcast psycho when it comes to that because I like editing, and most people don't, but I do.
Well, I think the people that like doing it are good at it. Like I know you and Chris Wutsky and the homie Kaz, like you guys are like my high water mark of like, okay, if I ever do start editing the show, I can't just take 30 minutes and do it. Like I have to put some time into it. And I don't know, so like on the Untrained Eye, like way back in the day when we recorded directly into Audacity, like from our computer, it got to a point to where stuff was getting lost. So whenever we would get done and push stop, like we would get big chunks that would just disappear into nothing. And my job would then be to like either try and piece something together from what was left or just take a big gap out and insert something that said, oops, sorry, this part's gone.
Dude, okay, so I had one of those moments 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was the raw audio file for one of our shows was like an hour and 10 minutes. So including like edit cuts that I made up into a said point, I was at like the 30-minute mark, and I think I only had about 20 minutes of audio to go through at that point. Audacity crashed. And I lost everything. And I flipped the fuck out. But thankfully, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was my karma points cashing in or what, but I opened the program back up and it saved it. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was about to just drive myself to the hospital and be like, can you put a stent in my heart? Because I think I just fucking died. Don't know how I'm here, but I'm here.
To go full like inside baseball, there was an episode I recorded that, so whenever you like do the can you hear me? And we're there, Richie.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. It started. No, it's cool. It's cool. You were sounding like it sounded like you were trying to do the vocoder part on Intergalactic by Beastie Boys there for a second. I was just fucking like, all right.
Wait, maybe I need to turn my Wi-Fi off. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, What were you saying? Sorry, I'm sure I was
Oh,
talking.
no, I was making some stupid fucking joke about going to the hospital because I fucked up on a podcast edit. So your guess is as good as mine because all I heard was Beastie Boys after that. So
Mine was so on like these Zoom things, you have to start a new project, and I had recorded an episode of something and then went to record another episode, but didn't start a new project, and so I just recorded the whole thing. And when I went in to go look for it, there was nothing. I found nothing, and I'm freaking out.
Oh, no.
But after like 30 minutes of like, I'm gonna have to tell him we got to record again. This is ridiculous. I can't. No. I finally looked. By the way, everyone who uses a Zoom L8 live track or whatever it's called, if you don't hit new project, it's just going to create another file from the last time you made a project, and it will put that date on it. So you'll see a file from a week ago, but that is actually your file from today.
Shit. So yeah. Oh god. I think I've done that a couple of times. Not doing this, but just files in general because photos. Like when I go to put our pictures on for our YouTube channel, whenever I go to put the thumbnail art up or whatever, the way it happens is we load it into Libsyn. So Libsyn will automatically like grab it and put it up for us. And I emailed the photo so I could put it on our computer. And when I went to look for the file, it wasn't there, all because I didn't fucking capitalize the E in the file name. So it was just somewhere else, and I thought I was just imagining shit. I thought I watched Fatal Pulse again and went on a fucking acid trip somewhere and lost my spot. But no, I fucked up beyond all recognition by not capitalizing the E, so it was just lost in the computer somewhere. And I was so pissed off. But then I found I was just like, I'm a fucking idiot. So I have more brain farts than I care to admit, honestly.
Same, dude. It's that thing of like, that is the moment. Those are the moments when you know that you love doing this, because you're like, I'm still going to do it, but I almost threw my laptop out of a window.
Yes. Yes. Because the thing about my laptop is that it's very fragile. It's all I've got. And so if I fucked up and just did that, oh my god, our show would be like I wouldn't be able to do our show. So I got to take care of this baby, and then whenever I get my PC built, then I can fucking eat this thing real hard.
Dude, you and Cody need to make an Office Space style video where you just damn, it feels good to be a gangster, and just beat that thing to death with a couple of baseball bats.
Oh, thank you for that. That might need to happen. And you know what? Fuck it. When that does happen, we should make that our first vlog on the YouTube channel. It's like, hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to teach you how to rebuild your computer from scratch. But to do that, we need to destroy this one first before we can rebuild it. So bust the shit up out of this son of a bitch. It's old, dude. It's a fucking like, I think it's like a 2007 or 2008 Dell computer, but I mean, it still works. So,
you know what's funny is I've been thinking of, I'm like, who would be like a weird guest to have on this show? And I was just thinking the other day, whatever happened to that dude you're getting a Dell guy? Like, I would love to talk to that dude.
That would be a fun damn guess. The literal last thing I heard about him was he got busted for marijuana possession or some shit a long time ago. And that's literally like the last thing that happened that was of any like relevance of having him in the public eye. And I'm just like, bro, you fucking lost your job with Dell because that's bullshit. You know, like, it's bullshit that he got popped for it. It's bullshit that, you know, he couldn't have it on him, because I think the shit should be legalized. But, you know, that's another conversation topic. So, but yeah, that would be a fun fucking guest. And dude, who else would be a fun guest? Like, you think about like all these people that we saw on commercials and infomercials and shit like that. You know, those people would be the best guests, because you know they have all kinds of fucking stories, from getting the company pitch to having to read the lines and being like, you really want me to say this shit? And you know, everything. Like, I'm trying to think, dude.
I was gonna say, who's the Australian dude that took over for the OxyClean guy? What was his name? Billy something?
Oh fucking hell. Billy Mays?
Billy Mays, is that right?
Fucking like Billy Mays was like the guy for OxyClean before he died or whatever. But like, he would be fun. Cody and I have been dying to do anything with Phil Swift from Flex Seal though, because that fucking guy is just like out there like Pluto in the best way. Like every time I see one of his commercials, I'm sitting there going, all right, what kind of infested waters is he gonna boat over with a screen door and some fucking like glue and tape? Please inform me. And then you watch the behind the scenes videos and he's throwing bait into the water for the sharks to swim up underneath him and shit. And you're just like, fuck, dude, you got a death wish. Is it he flips over? Oh.
He's got it all. Does he have a family? Do you know? This will all come out in the interview, I'm sure.
I think he does.
Like, that would just be, how great would it be that that's your job? You're like, well, there's this product. Did he invent it? Do you know? Or is he just the pitch man for it?
I want to say that he had something to do with inventing it. I'd be lying if I told you for sure. But I feel like he had something to do with it. He can't be just the pitch man. He's built an entire fucking empire off of this. There's no way he's just the pitch guy at this point.
Well, dude, Billy Mays was OxyClean. Like he had the homes that OxyClean built. Like there's no way that he had anything in manufacturing those, but you knew who Billy was. And if that's right, that would be even more hilarious.
Who was the guy in the 90s that did the oh god, he did a fucking movie, Vince Offer. Because he was the what's the fucking ShamWow,
right?
Yeah, he was a ShamWow guy. But he did a movie. He did some comedy movie like anthology that was so bad, dude. It had like fucking Joey Buttafuoco and all kinds of random people in it. Just like what? Because I remember seeing that shit on MTV getting advertised, being like, "Oh, I feel dumb that I can't remember what it's called," but like they would just pitch this thing, and I was like, "This looks so dumb," and it was very stupid. And I've highly debated putting that on our show because it's so dumb.
Was it not slap chop where you could just slap the thing and chopped up onion?
Bro, I'm laughing because of the remix video they put on YouTube a while back, and it was the slap chop remix, and they they put parts of Breakin' in there, the movie Breakin'. And they put parts of that in there, and it's like this dumb remix where he's auto-tuned, and they have him edited where he's like, 1 slap, you're gonna love my nuts. 2 slaps, you're gonna love my nuts. It's just the best fucking shit ever. Oh my god. But dude, infomercial people would be so fucking fun to interview and just to talk to, just to get inside their heads, because that's like, to me, that's a special kind of like persona you have to have. You've got to be extroverted, you've got to be animated, and you've got to be all about that shit.
They were our like modern day carnival barkers. Like, is there anyone that is doing anything like that now? Like, is there any other venue for someone to have that kind of muscle to be able to do that?
I have no idea. That's a great question.
I would love to find that person, whoever it is.
I think you know what? Now that because I'm thinking about all the hosts, I swear to God, Cody and I had a conversation about putting those guys in like a fighting tournament with each other or some shit. Like, like Flex Seal versus OxyClean, but it's really just Phil Swift and the power of his, never die attitude versus Billy Mays and his coke binge. Like, who's gonna fucking win out of the two of these guys?
Dude, Vince Deal is gonna, or whatever his name is gonna. He will take the crown. I promise you. That dude was nuts. Is he even still alive?
Oh, Vince Offer?
Vince Offer. Vince.
Yeah, he's still alive. I mean, Vince Neil is still alive too, though. He's surprisingly still alive. I'm not quite sure how, but he's still alive too. Yeah, no, and that's actually funny. Vince, I actually saw Vince Neil. I actually saw Motley Crue in 2006 on probably the last tour they were decent at. So, I forgot to add those guys onto the bands that should have retired, because they did retire and then they fucking came back, so they need to do it again. So, but no, dude, Vince Offer absolutely would take the fucking crown. Now that I think about it, he's too like, I don't know what it is about him. It might be his wild eyes or his his crack body. I don't know what the fuck he does, but like he's probably gonna win.
he's the wild card. He is the Charlie Day of the group. Like he is going to go off and do something that no one even. You're like, you can't do that, and he's like, I already did.
He's gonna fucking win. He could be the underdog, but he'd be the underdog and he'd win, and everybody in the audience is sham. Wow, he fucking did it! Like, god damn. And then he'd do that shit from like Rush Hour where Chris Tucker is like, wipe yourself off a little bit. You're dead. He'd throw a ShamWow on his opponents and like clean yourself off a little bit. You're dead. Trust me, I've tested it. It works. Have you ever had one of those before? Have you ever tried a ShamWow?
I have not. I had like whatever they called it, the like deer skin or whatever that you get from like AutoZone or whatever. But no, isn't that what it is? Like
it's just a sham. I mean, the offer is a sham itself, but no, the ShamWow, believe it or not, actually fucking works. When I lived in Colorado in 2007, I bought one from the As Seen on TV aisle at the Family Dollar over there because I was like, I gotta know. I just got to know. And so I went into our kitchen and I poured a whole glass of Kool-Aid on the floor. And my girlfriend at the time wanted to kick my fucking ass. But, I was like, I'm testing this product and it worked. I swear to God, it worked. So I was like, oh, okay, this guy's not just, it's not just a product name that he's just really all about. It actually works. So I was really surprised. Oh, best $10 I ever spent.
You know what we had that worked? I don't think we ordered it off of television, but I think we bought it was from the makers of OxyClean, Mighty Mend It. And it was a thing that you could like use if you had a rip in your pants or something, instead of a pad, you could use Mighty Mend It and it would glue your pants back together.
I remember that Cody and I did when we still had our Patreon up, we did an episode where we were doing watch-alongs for old infomercials, and that was one of them that came on, and we were like, "What the fuck is this shit?" It's like, holy shit, Mighty Mend It. What the fuck?
It worked.
Like this, yeah, but the stuff they came out with, like all these products that get pitched, like, dude, one of the infomercials we watched was this lady. What the fuck was it called? She basically it was like dump meals or something, where she had like these red pots and pans, and she was just throwing she's like, you want to make ramen tacos? And she's like throwing crunched up dried ramen into the tacos, and I'm just like, yeah, I totally want to break my teeth today, lady.
Ramen.
Tell me more. Yeah, like she would make spaghetti out of ramen, and then she would put it in the taco shells and like dress it like spaghetti tacos. And I'm like, bitch, you think you're inventive? I did this shit when I was like doing the struggle snacks back when I was like 17, 18 years old. Like, you aren't impressing me.
I was gonna say that sounds like the struggle snack when you're also super high. You're like,
yes, it is.
Put it all in the same bowl. It's fine.
I promise, like, I am opening my eyes, like, because if you look at me, like, I always look like I have like a permanent squint going on. Like, part of that is because I have this light right in my goddamn face, and the other part of that is because, like, I have smoked my fair amount of weed. So I think I am like at that level where I'm not burnt out. I don't think I'm a burnout, but like I feel like I look like a burnout. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know the fucking struggle snack, bitch. Don't try to impress me with some shit I already did. Like, the next thing she's gonna be like, oh yeah, here's how to make homemade pizza. You put sliced bread in the toaster oven, throw butter, garlic powder, pizza sauce, cheese, and pepperonis, and then let it toast for 5 minutes. Like, I already know how to do that shit. Trust me, it's delicious.
Oh my God. Whatever, you bougie with your toaster ovens. We barely had a toaster.
Dude, no, I mean, I just got a new toaster oven with Alex, and she and I, like, we use that thing to cook so much shit, dude, because I had one and it lasted me for a decade, and no bullshit, dude, I was like sad when it finally just bit the dust. I was so sad. I was like, well, shit. Because I would cook pizzas in that thing. We had one big enough you could cook a 14-inch pizza in. So I was like, fuck it, let's do that. Because our oven was going out. And then our oven went out, and then that went out. Fuck.
That's funny. So, I think the toaster oven, this is my hill I'm going to die on. I think that if you don't grow up in a toaster oven house, you just never have toaster ovens. Because, like, we never had one when I was a kid, and my wife never did either. And we were at Walmart one day, and I was like, I want a toaster oven, I think. And she was like, do you? And I was like, No, I don't think I do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. It will change your life, DJ. It will change your life. I promise you. And it will change Beth's life. I promise.
No, because then I'm going to be like, well, we have to buy the 90 count pizza rolls. It's the new toaster oven.
There's no shame. Bro. Okay. I did an Instagram post a while back, and I was just like, how you cook pizza rolls, and I dropped like 4 of them on the thing, and I was like, how I cook pizza rolls, and I shook the whole bag out onto it, because that's true. I will cook a whole 40 count bag of pizza rolls. I have no shame. Like, I'm a fat kid, and I don't give a fuck. So,
by the way, there's also something too, like growing up and finally having some money when you grew up poor. At least I grew up poor, and once I grew up and had money, and I was like, what do you mean I can buy all the fruit snacks and eat the whole box by myself? Yes, I will. Gushers,
right.
got them all.
Just take 2 handfuls and just shove them in your mouth. Dude, it's growing up. I think like the same thing can be said for just like growing up and just being by yourself and just not being told you can't fucking do this. So that's what I did. I did all the shit that I got told I couldn't do, and I'm just like, don't now. But some things I get why. Some things I get why. It's like, don't do that. Okay.
All right. I have to find out for myself, though.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
All right. This is my last and most very important question for you.
Okay.
So this is, I don't know. I thought I might know the answer, but maybe I don't.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie?
That is a loaded question, dude. Are we talking like genre or just like all time?
We could go, I would say your favorite all time, but maybe also your favorite horror.
Okay, my favorite horror, it's going to absolutely be, and it's a whole franchise. It's always a toss-up between Evil Dead and A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think Evil Dead kind of edges it out just barely because I could go into an entire like thing about it, but I'll just keep it short. Like with Nightmare on Elm Street, if you watch it and you really, really watch it, there are 2 trilogies hidden well within that franchise. You've got part 1, you've got Dream Warriors, and then you have New Nightmare, which completely follows the Nancy character and Heather Langenkamp all the way through. Because you could watch those 3 films and you don't have to touch the rest of the franchise. You could watch Freddy's Revenge, which is part 2, and that's kind of a standalone sequel. Or you could watch part 3, 4, and 5, and that's like the Dream Trilogy, because you got Dream Warriors, Dream Master, and Dream Child. Great fucking, I love all that shit, but there's some missteps here and there. Evil Dead just was really, Evil Dead was the movie that, as a child, scared the shit out of me, the first one. The first movie made me afraid to go outside at night because we lived by a shit ton of woods, and I would not go outside because we had fog, and I was like, that is the evil force coming to get my ass. I'm not going outside. But when I started getting into like Evil Dead 2, there was some slapstick comedy, and I'm like, okay, this is fucking hilarious. And then Army of Darkness came out, and that's all she wrote. Like, Bruce Campbell was my fucking hero. I love that man so much. But as far as like all-time movie goes, this is gonna sound cliche as shit, but dude, the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is like a fucking classic.
Oh, that is a good choice. That is such a good. Now, wait, did that movie come out before or after the what was it? That like what the heck was it called? It was the thing that like Pizza Hut or Domino's put on, that like traveling concert or whatever that you could get the VHS from.
Oh, that came out before. So you were talking about the Coming Out of Their Shells live tour.
Yes.
So the Coming Out of Their Shells live tour was like a little bit after. It was somewhere right either before or after The Secret of the Ooze came out. Okay. And I had that tape and I wore it the fuck out as a kid. Dude. I watched that thing religiously. Like Skipping Stones was my fucking jam, dude. Skipping Stones. And the whole time I'm sitting there like, man, Splinter just he's old. Like that show made me think Splinter was just like fucking ancient, dude, because he's like, you know, you go from like the Kevin Clash Ninja Turtles where he's like, they fight because they must, and he's just, you know, like giving them badass instructions, and then he sounds like old and people. He's like, I'm skipping stones, I don't have shit to do, they're grown up now, fuck my life. You know, he's just, reminiscing everything Skippy said. But yeah, that was so corny, dude. NECA Toys just put out a action figure set of that.
I saw that, and if it wasn't hundreds of dollars, I would have bought it.
I'm heavily debating dipping into my savings account for that shit, dude. And I barely buy stuff like that unless I love it. And I love it. So like I want that, and then like the OG ones from the 1990 movie, because those are out. And God, dude, that movie just has everything, and I think that's why it's a favorite of mine. I think that's why it's probably one of my all-time favorites, because there's comedy, there's action, like legit action. Back when they, were really basing them off of the 1984 Mirage comics and stuff, and there were, there was family moments, there was heart to it. There were lessons you could learn from the movie. It taught you about friendship and brotherhood and resilience and patience. Like everything just rolled into one. And then you have the dynamic of four brothers that have starkly different personalities, but they can come together and act as one unit. And that's just a whole ass win for me as far as a film to roll all that shit into one. That's a great movie. So
that is the best answer and explanation of the answer I could have ever hoped for. Mine was just The Matrix, because I'm like, I just love The Matrix so much.
That's a great film too. That's a great film too, man. Honestly, probably that movie really couldn't exist without shit like Ghost in the Shell or Akira. Really, So trace it back to some Japanese anime, and you'll see the roots of that there. That's a really good one too. Matrix is a fucking great choice.
Dude, I am scared and also very excited for The Matrix 4.
Same, but I think they'll do good just because Keanu just loves acting. He's mentioned as much before. He just loves making movies, and it shows, because the dude. I mean, for him to want to do another John Wick and another Matrix and another Bill and Ted, revisiting characters again, like, unless, you really love it or getting paid a shit ton of money, which coincidentally, probably both for him. But I've seen the man interview and just say as much that he just loves film and he loves making movies. So I'll go see anything that he's in.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah. I love Keanu. I really want this movie to be good, though. Like, I don't want to have to apologize for another Matrix movie.
Right. Yeah, because I thought the first one was really good, and I honestly enjoyed the second one. The third one was just I don't know. I feel like they didn't really have an ending, and they just did whatever they did. So I'm kind of hoping that this wraps it up a little.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't know. But I will always at least apologize for the first two, or whatever, the second two.
Are you a Matrix apologist?
I am so a Matrix apologist, even though I don't really even agree with myself. I'm also a prequels apologist for Star Wars, but I will never be a sequel trilogy apologist ever. Those were terrible, right. And I stand by that.
Cody and I had a field day with the third one. We really loved The Last Jedi a lot. In fact, on that same episode, we went into full detail as to why we didn't really care for the third one, and why we liked Last Jedi, but why we thought Rise of Skywalker was just balls, honestly. So if anybody wants to check that shit out and get pissed at us even more, check that shit out. So that's another topic for another day, though, I think.
Listen, okay, well, fine. I will leave you with this. I watched some like 25-minute breakdown of why that sequel trilogy was not good. And I actually started watching it because I was like, this guy's just going to hate on it, and I'm probably going to be done with it in 5 minutes. No, he broke down why. And it's so funny because The Last Jedi was the one that I was like kind of more fond of as well. But he broke down why that was like why the sequel trilogy was bad and why that was a bad sequel within that trilogy. And I was like, and the comparison that he made was to what I now, after watching that video, consider to be the best sequel, Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day is the best sequel that I've ever seen. Aside from Aliens, that is one of the best sequels ever.
Yeah, and when he, like, drew the comparisons from those characters and how they grew to the characters in Star Wars and how they absolutely were just frozen until we saw them again, I was like, oh, this is terrible. This was as bad as I thought it was, and now I know why.
Oh shit! And I think, just to give like a short answer for why we loved it so much, I think we loved it because it did what the original trilogy did, Last Jedi. It dared to be a little different. It dared to challenge the characters' beliefs, and it dared to push the story in a different direction instead of staying formulaic. And I think that's why I really liked it a lot. It was out of left field. It felt like, Rian Johnson studies the damn Jedi Bible, basically, so I don't know. I'll probably die on that hill, but that one is, again, that one's up there with Empire and Rogue One for me, because Rogue One was a good standalone film too.
Well, the out of left fieldness of it is what I liked about it as well, because I was like, oh, this is what's going on here?
Yeah.
And they're in that whole trilogy as a whole, like, I think you could pick and choose a lot of stuff that is good, but it's either gets ignored completely or just forgotten, or it's just like, we're going to pay this off, and no, we're not, just kidding. We beat the guy, whoever it is. I don't know. Is he a clone? Is he the first guy? We'll never know. You have to read the book or watch the comic or play Fortnite. Or,
It's true though, man. Like, I swear on everything, dude. When we were in the theater watching that shit, and Darth Sidious pops up, I no bullshit, dude. I put my hands down. I was like, I just leaned forward in my seat, and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? What kind of bullshit is this? You couldn't make somebody else up? You couldn't do more with Snoke? You had to rely on fucking Palpatine? Son of a bitch, man. Like, y'all, I fucking hated The Rise of Skywalker because they fucking basically made a movie just to erase The Last Jedi. They didn't want to progress the story at all. Rian Johnson was like, I progressed the story. Here, I'm giving you the baton. I trust you to, push the story a little further and be unique about it. And J.J. fucking Abrams was just like, nah, I'm going to swing my big J.J. Abrams dick around and I'm just going to take the head of my dick and erase everything you fucking did, and then I'm just going to piss on it to wash it away.
I mean,
what an asshole.
We're getting the Snyder cut of Batman v Superman or whatever, or what? No, Justice League, right?
Justice League. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get I keep hearing like rumors of like the 4-hour cut of Rise of Skywalker that actually, vindicates everybody. I would, even if it was trash and I knew it was more trash, I would 100% watch a 4-hour cut of Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, before we get done with this, okay. I'll leave you with something to do, because it is on the internet. Go look up Colin Trevorrow's script of it, because it is online. Colin Trevorrow was the dude that did Jurassic World and was supposed to do this movie, and they kicked him off. That script, I don't know if you've read it yet, but dude, I would have given like both of my nuts to fucking see that script actually get made.
Is that the one that was like definitely it felt like he went more to like the samurai roots of what the Jedi and everything was, because didn't his face like end up Harry carrying himself, like he's like whoops with like Mace Windu's lightsaber? Was that it? Am I right? What was that guy? Hux ended up killing himself with Mace Windu's lightsaber in that.
Something like that. Because the part that I'm kind of like getting at is there's a sequence in there where Kylo, if I'm not mistaken, like Kylo Ren comes face to face with a full apparition of Vader, and in some cave somewhere, and like the whole tone of the film was different. Certain people died, certain people didn't die. It felt like it would have wrapped up the sequel trilogy so much better than Rise of Skywalker did.
There's a podcast called, I think it's called The Weekly Planet. It's an Australian podcast, and they're huge, whatever. Do you know it? Or
I know them.
Okay, yeah. So did you see that? Did I send it to you? There's like, I think it might be that script where they had animated like a 10 or 15-minute version of it. And it basically is just going through like the beats of that script, and it's all animated and it looks amazing. And if that, I'll send that to you before this episode comes out. And if that is it, I'll like attach that to this, because it is.
Yes.
It will make you sad. It will make you sad and be like, why did I get the movie that I got when I could have gotten this?
Send it to me. Send it to me, definitely. Send it to me, definitely. Because if I can get like, it right there, So I'll take anything. I'll take anything over The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Fucking Jar Jar Abrams. I'm telling you, man, he's earned that nickname. He has earned that son of a bitch.
Listen, the 4-hour cut will be his redemption story. Mark my words.
There you go. If it exists, which if the Snyder cut exists, I'm pretty sure that 4-hour cut exists. So if that exists and it actually like does it justice, pun very much intended, I will watch it.
So. Listen, there's the cut of the prequels that we'll never see that Topher Grace did, because he's like does amateur editing on the side, and everyone says it's amazing, and we'll never get to see it. Terrible.
Speaking of, like, I know I keep like probably dragging everything out, but of editing and things like that, I'm doing a project with my friend that I wrote the Super Media Bros theme music with. I want to do a supercut of the Evil Dead trilogy, because a lot of people think that Part 2 is a remake, and it's not a remake. I am here to tell you all that it is not a remake. Sam Raimi and company signed the footage rights over to New Line Cinema for the first film, so they did not have the rights to use said footage for the recap for the second one. So they had to shoot Bruce Campbell and a different actress playing Linda going back to the cabin to recap the events of the first film. And where you see Bruce Campbell in the second film get picked up by the evil force and pushed through the woods and smacking the tree and falling down, that part right there is actually where the first film ends. So what I want to do is splice that together so you never see like the beginning portions of Evil Dead 2. So it just flows together a little better. And then when Army of Darkness comes around, when he gets up through the portal, you don't get the Medieval Dead ending, because they were going to call it Medieval Dead for the third one. You don't get the Medieval Dead ending from the second one. You just go into the portal and go right into Army of Darkness, and it's just one continuous fucking cut. And I would love to make that to where it's just a giant viewing experience.
That sounds amazing, and I'm sorry to admit this right now, but I have only seen Evil Dead. I have not seen 2 or Army of Darkness.
Dude, check them out. I swear to God, those are going to become some of your favorite movies. It's just great. Like, Bruce Campbell is such a great physical comedic actor. And not to mention the fact that if you really pay attention to those movies, there are certain sequences where, especially in the tree push scene, where he's getting slapped with branches left and right. That's Sam Raimi just fucking hitting him with sticks and shit off camera, because Sam would poke at him and hit him with shit all the time. Like, he sprained his ankle on set, and he would keep fucking poking Bruce with a stick on his ankle just to piss him off in between takes. That's just the kind of shit that he would do. You know, he fucks with all of his actors and stuff. So,
all right, you brought up something that I'm glad you did, because I forgot. You made the theme to the Super Media Bros?
Yeah, my friend Alex and I, my girlfriend's name is Alex, but one of my best friend's name is Alex too. So, not to confuse the two of them. Though my best friend Alex and I have a music project that we've got probably over like 200 something demos of music. And it started out as a Giorgio Moroder track that we were just going to write as a tribute to like the 80s and stuff like that. And I really, really liked the flow of it. And when the podcast like got started, we were pitching around like, what are we going to do for, music or whatever. And I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to go with Alex and be like, hey, I'd like to use this for our stuff, and we cut together like the everything that you hear up into episode 105 is the old theme. Like, we had it just kind of laid out. And I actually went back in December and me and him recorded guitar over it, and
Yes,
we souped up the drums and souped up the synthesizer a little bit. So yeah, I was like, I want to add a guitar solo in here, and like he played the solo, and I played the rhythm track on it, and we fucked around with like all the digitization. We did new synth leads in it. We did stereo mixing. So like if you listen with headphones in, you'll hear like some stuff going back and forth. Just
yeah.
because we like doing that shit. So, but yeah, we wrote it. We have a lot of fun doing that stuff too. So.
Dude, when the first time that I heard that guitar solo come in, I was like, what is happening? I seriously was like, was this a whole song the whole time? And he was keeping this from us? What is happening? Like,
yeah, I told him I wanted to rewrite it to, because like the way that it ended initially with, like if you listen to the old episodes and you hear the outro, how it trails off at the end with the hand claps and the delay. That was an accident. Like we didn't mean for that to happen. And I was just like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Let's recreate that. But I want to be able to do the intro where I can just duck it out and just let it play through and just be over with. So that's how we rewrote it. So that like when you hear us do our intros now, the song starts and it just and when it starts, that's actually me saying Super Media Bros on a vocoder keyboard. So that's me talking, and then that's him playing the guitar solo and shit. So we spent I think we spent 2 days just messing around with it and just getting the drum patterns right. Because again, I'm a stickler for that stuff. So we played around with different drum machines and different keyboards, different pitches. We actually thought about changing the key of the song at one point. I was just like, no, don't do that. I was like, I'm used to hearing it the same key, so let's not change it. So, but yeah.
Every single episode from the first time until now, I always imagine Mordecai and Rigby like doing the robot,
playing the power. That's one of my favorite episodes of regular show is the power.
We should do a side podcast all about regular show. I would do that.
Oh, I'd be totally fucking down for that, dude. I love that damn show. We do it, do an episode per episode.
Yeah,
breaking each one down. That'd be so much fun. Not so regular show.
Not so regular.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, if you want to tell all the people where to find you again, please.
All right. You can listen to all of our episodes at supermediabrospodcast.com. You can follow us on Twitter at supermediabros_, Super Media Bros on Facebook, and Super Media Bros Podcast on Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, look on the screen right here at Midnight Agent Raw. That's MDNTAGNTRAW.
Richie, thank you so much for being here, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Absolutely, dude. It's been a long time coming. So, audio crap on my end aside, I'm really happy we got to do this.
Yeah, dude. Dude, we'll be doing it again soon, I'm sure.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Anytime. I'll come back on and we'll have another conversation more into Star Wars.
All right, man. I'm going to end